This is a house that is dedicated to healing. It's a place of a great deal of love and caring and devotion. I run it here with my husband and a team of very devoted, loving, caring healers with many wonderful aspects of alternative medicine to offer.
My husband was diagnosed with a tumour in late 1990. He had been ill for about a year beforehand. Over the period of 2.5 years from his diagnosis till his death, we spent several £1,000s on alternative therapies. All of these people promised us cures and treatments, and they had cured cancers. I felt and still do feel that we were lied to and we were betrayed.
These natural remedies are back in very much in vogue at the moment because they work. I myself have been a cure of this medicine. I've experienced cancer and I've experienced being healed of cancer.
If there is evidence that a treatment works for a particular illness or disability, that's great. But I'm very, very sceptical of most of the cures and treatments that are offered. I could tell you I have a pink unicorn sitting here beside me on the table and that is what cures all my ills. There's my little pink unicorn and everything, and he's just there and he's wonderful. But would you believe it? Why should you believe it? What's on the table? What can you see? And that's what I'm being sold by alternative medicine practitioners.
Patricia has agreed to spend a week living at the Shambhala Healing Centre in Glastonbury, which describes itself as somewhere between a hotel, a health farm, a sacred site, and a gateway to higher consciousness. Including treatments, Patricia's 5 days would cost over £500.
Good morning. Hello. Do come in.
Hi. Can you take that for me?
Thank you very much. It's
Okay.
Eddie.
That's fine.
Nice to meet you. Good coming. Welcome to
I'm Argon.
Shambhala. Hello.
Hi,
What's your
welcome.
name?
Argon.
Argon.
And that's Isis.
Hello. You come in with the dog. Come in, Dad. Yes, he's
Isis, a spiritual healer and psychic, specialises in Reiki, Seichem and Vortex healing. For £80, she'll even teach you how to channel and meet your spirit guide.
Put you in the Chinese room.
Isis and Argon claim that at Shambhala you can benefit from some of the most profound healing on the planet. As a member of the Association of Skeptical Inquiry, Patricia's aim is to put those claims to the test.
It's a view of the sacred courtyard and the star, and then you've got the orchard out there.
Isis's first act with any new guest is always to check their medical history. Patricia volunteers only that she is as healthy as a horse. She's decided not to mention anything about her husband.
Oh, isn't it important for us to know? No, nothing at all. They need to be asked how they...
Isis then conducts a diagnostic and counselling session, which focuses on the healing power of love, taking any new guest out of their minds and putting them into their hearts.
Very brief visualisation, takes a couple of minutes. If you'd like to close your eyes and place one hand on your heart physically and smile your lovely smile, and collect some saliva up into the throat and swallow the smile with the saliva down the throat into the heart. And as we focus here, a golden glow begins under your hand. This comes from the very centre point of the heart, which is a golden flower with 12 beautiful, shiny, bright petals. How many of the petals are open? What number pops up?
Well, I've lost it at this stage because when I swallowed into my stomach, not into my heart, so the rest of it was irrelevant.
All right, can we try it again then, please? So we close the eyes and go into that quiet, private space of you. And the golden flower that is there, with its 12 shiny, bright petals. And just tell me how many petals of the 12 are open. It's an intuitive response. It's the first number that pops up.
This I can't do this. This doesn't. I mean, I can make pictures inside my head, but I can't see a flower in a heart.
No.
If you're healing people's bodies or anything like that, there must be some sort of evidence to show that what you're selling this person as a healer, the treatment that you're selling, that it really works, that there is a point after which that thing becomes dangerous because they've overdosed on it.
I don't think you can overdose on love, and that is what we use to heal.
Yeah.
Love heals everything. And if somebody's in their heart and willing to be healed, then they will heal.
If it is your destiny and you have chosen to learn your lessons through going through a major illness, and many people do, and they die at the end of it, that is their choice. The choice is always the individual's choice.
I have come across people who really didn't want to be in whatever situation they were in, and despite every effort they made, and I mean every effort, it didn't alter what was happening.
Many people are so locked into their beliefs, so locked into the need for proof, so locked into their pain, they would rather have that pain than they would have a cure. And people would rather die than find relief.
Patricia's first therapy is a craniosacral session with Narayan. This involves the manipulation of the skull bones and the sacrum to relieve pain and a variety of other ailments. Therapists claim they can detect a rhythm in the cerebrospinal fluid. No instrument is used to measure the rhythm, but for Narayan, personal experience is all the evidence he needs.
One person's experience isn't evidence, it is that person's belief. So you have to sit and do a trial and a test, and somebody else has to be able to sit and do the same trial and test with the same controls and come up with pretty well the same results, which are over and above the levels of chance, to show that this is a real treatment that really works and that really will make people better, as opposed to believing in tooth fairies, Santa Claus, Reiki healing, or whatever you want to call it.
So you're saying it's only the strictly scientific approach to anything that tells us anything about the universe. So how do you explain the fact that now, more and more, the sort of things that scientists are saying is in fact very, very similar to what mystics have been saying for centuries?
I wouldn't say it's
how does that explain?
I don't think...
How do they know when they couldn't do the scientific experiments? How did they know? How did the mystics know, and how has it been passed down generation after generation?
Give me an example.
How things are, with the way things are in the universe, that
Like
is now
what?
being shown.
Like what? They didn't get it right about the orbits of the world and all the planets and all the rest of it that go around, because there was this big belief for a very long time that everything else went round and we sat in the middle and we were the centre of the universe. They didn't know just how huge, ginormous the universe is. They didn't know what Mars was made out of. They didn't know that an awful lot of those planets existed. They didn't know about bacteria or viruses or anything. You can't say that the mystics many years ago knew it all. They didn't. It took science to show all this. I cannot see that I'm going to be a born-again believer and think it's all cuddly and wonderful by the end of the week. At this stage, it looks to me rather like wishful thinking and fairy stories.
She is very closed in herself, her heart is closed, and that may be an experience of childhood. I certainly feel that she's had a traumatic experience when she closed her heart to the world at around age 2 or 3, and that was reinforced in her teens.
Nobody has asked me anything at all about my husband. And for people who are intuitive and people who are clairvoyant or clairsentient or whatever else it is they claim to be, it is very, very interesting that they haven't asked me anything yet.
Something like that, some sort of trauma, would have closed off to such an extent as we're dealing with here. And it would be a great joy for that to open up, be healed, and to go in a whole different way forward.
At Shambhala, the day starts with Isis leading guests in a meditation around the sacred star. Dismissing the idea that the star is sacred, or that energy may be emanating from it, Patricia registers her disbelief by refusing to join in.
Put a hand on each of the senses, please.
Patricia is scheduled to receive a £35 Reiki session from Isis, but before they get going, a pre-healing still photograph of her aura. Reiki masters claim to channel the healing energy of the universe through their bodies. As Isis's hands begin to heat up, the ongoing changes to Patricia's aura are monitored using a computer program called aura in motion.
It's interesting to see what's happening. That sometimes you get wild peaks and then it flattens out. Yes, look what's happening there. It goes right up. It looks sometimes as though the client's trying to not go with it, but to fight it a little bit. And also on the emotion meter, you can see things changing quite wildly. The changes that are happening are much more gradual, much smoother. Her energy is being smoothed out, brought into balance. The whole aura has steadied down quite a lot, not fluctuating so much. And that emotion meter is very flat now compared with what it was. So whatever resistance there was has been overcome with that. I'm so impressed. Whatever healing's going on is doing her a lot of good.
So, would the apparent changes in Patricia's aura be reflected in the second still photo?
Look straight ahead at the camera. That's fine. All finished. You can release now.
These are my Kirlian photography photographs, and if you can see them, I'm sort of in the middle, and these coloured things are my auras. And which is which? Make your mind up. Can you tell? Because I can only tell by the numbers on the back. This one was done beforehand, and this one was done afterhand. And all I can say is 10 out of 10 for skeptics, because it didn't change.
To Patricia, the idea of auras, crystals and healing energy is, to say the least, hard to accept. But she's about to discover that they're merely part of a wider cosmic view.
Well, we can get into a whole area of when we used to have 12-strand DNA, and then at the Atlantean times this would cut to 2.
In the Atlantean times?
To control the populace.
Where did the other 10 go?
It held in the etheric blueprint for humankind. Now you can say that DNA that we've got at the 2-strand serves as well. But how amazing to be aware of being a cosmic being that you are, and to be able to travel through space by a thought, and all sorts of things like that.
Where would you go?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
Quick trip to Sirius.
yeah, go to the stars.
Andromeda.
Yeah.
Is there civilizations on Venus?
Oh, yes,
Oh yes,
indeed.
the Temple of the Sacred Heart is on
the Hathors
Venus.
are on
yeah.
Venus.
What about Mars?
Yes, there's a lot going on Mars, that's for sure.
And our brothers and sisters of the stars are have our highest good and our welfare at heart.
Their ability to be brain dead absolutely astonishes me. Everybody who comes here has this unquestioning acceptance. They're all higher beings on this path to enlightenment, and they're all clairvoyant, and they see things and they know things, and they're working for their 12-strand DNA and all the rest of it. It's just so weird.
Later that evening, a cosmic journey on the gong, with Argon as gong master. To Isis and Argon, it's Patricia's closed mind and her refusal to trust in the heart that's weird. They may not know the exact details of her past, but they certainly feel they're picking up something.
We're looking at someone who's holding something inside, something so fearful, something so traumatic to them, that they can't possibly allow anyone in, or anyone to see what that trauma or fear is. It is my sense from my heart that we've started something. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but sooner or later this memory will surface. We hope it will be with us because we can help her cope with it.
This evening over tea, Argon was suggesting that tomorrow I might like to go and have a rebirthing experience in the pool with him. It transpired in the course of the conversation that normally this is done with everybody naked. I have a big unease about this.
Surprisingly, it's Murray, a visiting therapist, who finally extracts the information about Patricia's past, simply by asking her. Now that they know about the death of Patricia's husband, Argon and Isis both feel the Breath of Life rebirthing treatment would benefit Patricia.
We've all had trauma, we've all had loss. I didn't remember my own child abuse, for instance, until I was 45, and then it all came out. And this is the breathing that helped me get through it.
But both of us feel there is a knot or a ball of anger within you that is never allowed to express itself.
Argon calls it a knot of anger, but there's an area that could be cleared out with this just through breathing in warm water. It seems such an easy thing to do for a result that may be terrific.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to know that the offer is there,
Okay.
and in
All right.
20 years' time or whatever, if I decided I wanted to do it,
Well, certainly.
I could
If you ever wish to
change my
come
mind
back,
and come
yeah.
back and do it. But it's not for me at the moment.
The Breath of Life may not be for Patricia, but there are other volunteers. Louise, one of the other guests, is happy to take the plunge with Argon, who, because of the camera, even allows her to wear a swimming costume.
This is my rhythm, Louise, not yours.
In his literature, Argon calls Breath of Life the most profound and extraordinary healing experience of many lifetimes. At £80 a session, he claims it's capable of healing a range of spiritual, emotional and physical problems.
Yeah, there's some anger there. Let that come. Good. Okay, take a breath. Now, take a breath. Through the mouth, only through the mouth. Breathe.
This whole concept of getting naked into a tub with another naked person, I don't like any of that. It feels to me like a sort of gratuitous sexual gratification. From him, I would say it's in all innocence, but that's the way I feel about it, and I don't like it, not at all at all.
Let the breath do the work. Yes, good, good. Breathe. Now take a deep breath through the mouth. In through the mouth. Another one. In through the mouth. Another one. Blow it away. Blow the energy away. Good. Blow. In and out through the mouth. Louise.
The idea of having your breathing regulated and controlled by somebody in a hot and relatively airless environment is something that I think is extremely dangerous.
Try and fix it. Don't judge it. Just let it go.
So for me, this is a bad idea, very bad idea. And there ain't no way I'm not doing anything like that. I think definitely not.
Good. Stay with that. Just a memory. It can't hurt you. It's on its way out. Let it go. Okay, breathe in the joy and the bliss. That's good. Let that come in. Well done. Excellent. That's the space you've created when the energy of negativity has been released. So draw more of yourself in, more of the golden light that you are.
So you've been for a rebirthing?
Well, I've been through something. I'm certainly feeling very different to when I went up there. And the most important thing that I have found is that the pain that I've been experiencing for probably about 12 months now has actually gone. Mm-hmm. So that was quite amazing.
Later, Louise checked out of Shambhala, claiming that her symptoms had returned and that she'd been left in a highly emotional state with no backup or support. Patricia's unbending scepticism and refusal to acknowledge any of the treatments is beginning to have an undermining effect on the spiritual harmony at Shambhala.
This week has been more serious than any week I've ever remembered at Shambhala. There's usually a lot of laughter. Not about anything in particular, but just laughter, lightness. But there's been a lot of anger around this week.
I have no idea why you lie. Because it's not the only thing that you lie about.
What else did I lie about?
Well, I don't want to get into it, quite frankly.
Well, you've just made an accusation, have you not?
I don't think I've heard more words from one person in Shambhala ever. I found towards the last 2 days I didn't want to look as if I was avoiding Patricia in the times we had occasionally alone in the house. But I simply had to be still somewhere because the voice was hammering into my mind.
There's no doubt that me being sceptical and asking questions unsettles people.
I'll sit there, stand here. Right. Sorry.
Isis simply removes herself from my presence. She keeps insisting on accusing me of anger. Anybody who doesn't show unqualified acceptance of everything they're told here is angry.
I would like to see much more light and laughter and love in the lady that we have been hosting this week.
In other words, don't fight. Don't ask questions. Don't question anything. Don't just submit because we tell you it's the right and the nice thing to do.
Patricia's main concern with alternative medicine is that it plays on the fears of sick and often vulnerable people. Prior to his death, Patricia's husband visited a psychic surgeon who promised and failed to remove his tumours. Now, Argon, in trance, his body apparently taken over by Akada, a reincarnated Japanese surgeon, only available between 6 and 7 in the evening, will operate on Patricia to remove her anger.
We call this Adonai healing. I've had a very direct experience of this. I had just started to develop cancer and I was in a lot of pain. Akada just literally appeared through Argon. He was healing me with his hands in the way we do, and the pain went. I think I had about 5-10 minute sessions. We've never set out to prove this. We just know that these things happen.
Somewhere between sort of 9 and 7 years ago, I went to England with my husband on 2 or 3 occasions to visit a psychic surgeon. And I really had no idea what psychic surgery was about. But the person we went to see says that he operates on the body and that he removes tumours and that he cures all sorts of things. When we would come out from there, my husband wouldn't take any painkillers or anything like it for a day or so afterwards. And to see the loss, the betrayal, the sense and the pain, the physical pain,
Yes.
and the betrayal and everything is horrendous, absolutely horrendous. So
Our philosophy is that we can't say that we can cure anybody of anything because we feel it is within the individual to decide.
before dinner, when we sat and had a chat about what would be happening in the psychic surgery, Isis stated absolutely that they cure cancer and psychic surgeons cure cancer, and her cancer was cured by psychic surgery. She was clear about that. During dinner, when I stated my story and I told them what had happened with my husband, we never cure cancer, we never make such a claim. You can't really confront and ask them about anything. It's like picking up jelly in your bare hands or something. There's just nothing.
It's the last morning, and before she leaves, Patricia is determined to get a straight answer from Isis and Argon about their qualifications. She's worried that their clients include emotionally vulnerable victims of sexual abuse.
I mean, have either of you got the sort of specialised training that's involved in dealing with child sex abuse and the ramifications of it? No, answer my question, please. Have either of you?
They have had healings.
Have either of you had the sort of training that is necessary for people who are dealing with sex abuse?
We have had
Have
the sort
you?
of training.
Yes or no? Yes or
we
no?
have had the sort of... Can I answer you?
Yeah, well, it's straight yes or no, please.
No. It is...
You haven't had the training.
I need to answer your question fully.
Well, if you could start with the yes or no and then expand, I'd like that.
In terms of
Perhaps you could
conventional
answer
training
some.
that you would see in your narrow view of healing,
Yes.
that has to have a certificate
Mm-hmm.
for the subject matter of its tiny aspect of this healing that you are discussing.
Yes.
The answer is no. It is
And
not.
if you haven't got that extra dimension to healing something like sex abuse, you shouldn't be offering half the therapy.
It is not half the therapy, it is a whole therapy.
Mm-hmm.
These women have been healed. Surely you wouldn't deny them that.
Yes, but when
Would
they
you
get
deny
out
them
of the
that?
pool,
Answer me
in
yes
a
or no.
it depends on the
Answer me yes or
circumstances.
no. Would you deny them healing because there is no bit of paper that you personally approve of? Would you deny them healing, yes or no?
yes.
You would deny somebody healing? You wouldn't deny your husband when he was dying of cancer healing. Why would you deny anybody who has had a healing? You are creating a scenario here which you're accusing all alternative therapies of because your husband died of cancer and you couldn't
You're making an illogical step. You've said that
reflecting
grief
to you.
equals anger, and you've said that I'm doing it because.
Grief equals anger because all anger and all grief is fear. It is not love, and there is not a great deal of love for the world for you and from you.
For the world.
For the world or from you to the world. You are an angry person.
Everybody all week has been determined to tell me that because, for whatever reason, because they think I have a trauma or a loss or a grief or anything else, that I am therefore angry and therefore need healing. And there's this permanent sort of drag going on, like, come on in here. Grief equals anger equals you need healing. And this goes on. And the other people that come here, people that have bereavements in their lives, and it's the same thing. Grief equals anger equals you need healing. And this is this line, which is, the person isn't making the decision. The decision is being made for them.
No, that is totally untrue.
I'm not.
I think we ought to stop it there, really, because we're just going to go round in circles into a more entrenched position, which I'm very disappointed about because I thought we'd made some middle ground between us. Thank you.
Are we continuing on?
Isis and Argan as individuals are nice people, but I think that the therapies that they're selling are false, misleading and downright dangerous.
She was using her husband's death from cancer as a means and as a weapon to criticise alternative medicine.
I rather suspect that they're healing their own egos and perhaps massaging people's wallets in the process.
She saw in us genuine healers who wanted to help her.
I very much fear that they are representative of healing therapies, and I think that's something that's very, very frightening.
She didn't actually, I believe, go into any therapy at all with an open heart or a willingness.
I think people are self-deluded. The people are nice, but it doesn't alter the fact that what they're selling is horse manure.